Hey, what's up, guys? I'm going to get started here in 30 seconds. I just have to adjust a screen here quickly. And we're going to do some live market analysis here for the couple of pairs here. And sorry if the screen's bouncing around here. I got an Instagram live feed going on as well too, for everybody on YouTube. Just so you know, just kind of screwing around with the screen right now. So I'm just going to talk real quickly. I think there's a couple levels that are going to be very interesting this evening, going into the London Open session, and I'm going to just discuss them here quickly. Don't know if you all made it into it, but I did a live webinar earlier today, just studying FOMC and the news release, and you can see what the effect had on the US dollar. Virtually none. Yeah, sort of. It basically, price shot up and finally exited out of this consolidation zone that they had in here. This real tight consolidation area was just a pain in the ass to trade in, so I'm glad it's finally out of there. Broke out of there, retested, and then continued to drop. So I'm going to expect price to further drop. I got a couple areas labeled on the marked up on the chart here now. These areas in here shouldn't offer too much resistance. Price may sort of bounce a little bit in these areas here, but I would expect that the major one offering resistance would support. I keep saying resistance, would be the 88.50 level, basically right in around here. So if you are looking to get some market bias from the US dollar index, you can expect further continuation to the downside for the next short little while, until otherwise proven different. But you know, again, the Feds keep increasing the interest rate for the US dollar, so I wouldn't expect price of the US dollar to continue to just spiral out of control. I would imagine that it would start to maybe regain some of the losses that it's had here. Sorry guys, 1 second. I'm just doing that real quick. One second. Sorry. Bam. Oh, didn't post it. There we go. Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, so anyway, like I say, just continuation downward on the US dollar. I believe we got quite a ways to go, and you can see on the on the daily chart, we did finally break out of the consolidation. Now, like I say, a couple of areas come to mind. 88.90, more so right in here. See the top or the high of this this down candle right here. If we see any bounce, price may just be a straight shot straight down to there. So today's trading, Thursday's trading, price could just shoot straight down and continue up higher, and I would expect some sort of a bounce or some kind of a level of resistance to form right about in this area right in here. Maybe even a little bit higher, maybe up into the bodies of these candles just a little bit. It did finally break out of that consolidation range, and it may take a little while to return to it. So I'm expecting this to kind of happen, price to come down. And I would even actually venture to say it's going to hit the middle of this candle by Thursday's trading, by the end of the day, and potentially maybe bounce up here. Probably wouldn't happen Friday or anything like that. They'll probably leave it down here Thursday, and who knows, Friday they may continue it right down below here. But I would like to see price come back up, balance this range, bounce off of here eventually, and then continue lower. On the weekly, I had mentioned several levels in here that I was fairly confident that we're going to see get taken out, and I'm pretty sure now that if they want to conventionally break these lows here, it will finally close down, and it will start to run lower into this weekly consolidation over at 86, pretty much, 87, big figure right in and around there. So that's kind of what I'm looking at here for the the next little while for the US dollar index. So I would expect further continuation on the downside. Now, the US dollar index, where are we here? If that's going down, then the Euro USD and the Pound USD should be going up. And this is a chart of the the Euro USD. Just adjust my screen a little bit there. So you can see that price did indeed finally break out of this little range. And sorry, I got a reconnection signal there. And traded higher, and I said if price was going to get through this level here, it would have to get through it convincingly, close, and then come back down and retest. It's basically done that right here. It's showing some willingness to expand off of this level here, and so I think the retest is pretty much over with now. We may not get as deep as what I outlined here, obviously. But you can see here, nice retest off of this old high back there. Price didn't have any willingness to continue down further. Now just watch at this candle here. We could get some pullback down to here a little bit. Just zoom in for you guys a tiny bit so you can see what I'm talking about. So right up in here, we could see a bit of a bounce back down to the highs of these candles here, and then a continuation upward. So that's what I'm looking for. We'll wait to see if that pans out, and that's not very far away. Price is starting to form the candle now, so we're looking for 4 or 5 pips for price to drop down. What I do not want to see is price come lower than here. So if price comes lower than this low here, and I'm talking price closes, now it can go down, it can wick down and close higher. That's fine, but I do not want to see price close lower than this low here. If that is the case, if it does go lower than that, then we will be looking for these highs in here to get retested and watch to see if we see any significant bounce at that level. I don't anticipate price to come any lower than that. That would be pretty much the line in the sand, because as you can see here, price has been balanced very, very well. There aren't any real inefficiencies in price, and it's fairly fluid all the way up. They came down, took all the sell stops below the market under here, and with this one candle here, this was the FOMC initial release. They dropped it down, took the stops, and rammed it up. And again, price was trading very, very nicely, covering all the ranges, and really doing a good job at covering all the price levels on the way up. So they didn't leave any inefficiencies. A small one right here, but I think that's too small, where I don't believe price would be interested in coming back down to. We're only talking about 3 pips, 4 pips rate, maybe right there. So for my purposes, that's pretty much pretty well traded too, so we should be fine in here. Small consolidation towards the end of the day. And then into the Asian session, and then the Asian sessions did see a little bit of a pop here, a little move higher, and has since retraced. So again, like I say, I want to see this candle here. I'd like to see it come down, just trade into the highs of these guys here, and then continue higher. And if I see anything different, if it starts to come down here, then my eyes will go to the highs of these candles, but this would be the line in the sand. I don't want to see price break anywhere down through here. If that's the case, then this would be a false rally. And targets for tomorrow, for Thursday, I believe easily that see these two, there's relatively equal highs up here, and then relatively equal highs right there. So I'm going to put a line up here on here. This would be my extended target, and I don't think it'd be very hard to hit that. That's only probably 80 pips from here. Nope, not even, sorry, 45 pips from here. So that's going to be an easy target, I think, for Thursday for price to stretch and reach into. And then going forward, obviously, so that's the first target, target 1, and then target 2 would be up here, which would be, that was probably closer to the, like I say, 40, 50 pips there, and then another 80 pips there. So relatively equal highs up here as well too, and I would suggest that price will go through there, and it could just run up, run the stops by 10 pips, and then come back down and retest lower levels. Nothing down here, of course, but maybe levels down in here that price had run through that it needs to rebalance, and then I would suggest a continuation higher. Again, I am looking for higher prices on the, as long as we continue to sink lower in the US dollar. I believe that, again, US dollar, I believe going down here. This is the weekly. I'll get rid of some of the shrapnel so you can guys see it a little bit better. There we go. So price, I believe, is going to continue lower. and down in through here. So as that's dropping, you see here, as this price is dropping, I'm expecting the euro to start running up as well too. So we've got a little ways away from these old this old high back in that was the end of February or early March, I believe, middle of February, sorry. So I think we're going to continue to see upward momentum on the euro USD. And then hi KSJ Robinson, how you doing? Yeah, we're going to see continued upward momentum on the euro USD, and this old high here from back in the middle of February, I think, is going to get targeted. Now that only depends on whether this low here, same date on the euro USD, gets taken out on the low side of this price run lower. I'd be looking for this one to get taken out. Now, where's a potential target for the euro USD to run to? As you can see in here, price did the same thing. We're just trading from consolidation to consolidation, basically. So we got a consol here, another one here. Price should push up through these highs here, which will in turn take out these highs up in here. And we should be making a push eventually towards the end of March, early April, maybe even the end of April, to get past the highs up in here. And then I would expect some of the inefficiencies in this price range up here to get rebalanced and traded to. So that's where we're going. This has obviously been a very, very nice rip higher, and you can see here just symmetrical swings. If you look, that price finally traded out of this consolidation, the last down run here. It should have an relatively equal upside potential, and that runs us again right about into these right into here, right in the inefficiencies that I had mentioned earlier. So that's where I think that's going to be headed, and we'll wait and watch for that. But like I say, in the short term, I'd like to see price basically trade back down to here. I'm going to be looking at getting some longs in, and then hopefully we'll see price trade higher. What will negate that is if price, let me get rid of this line here, and this guy here, so you can see that a little bit better. If price gets below 123.55, the low basically, where's 55? Just about there. If price gets below here, then I would suggest that the next level would be right into here at about 45 that I'd be watching. May not get down to there. But I'd certainly put my stop under here. I'd have a little bit of a tighter stop. I don't think they need to rebalance this range in here, because that's, again, price is fairly well balanced in there. 2 pips doesn't really matter that much. So I would, suggest putting my stop probably under here, about maybe 10 pips or so, which would bring us to about 123.25. So that'd be about a 30 pip stop if you took an entry off of 123.55. 30 pip stop, which is the standard stop that I typically would use at 123.25, and I would look for that upside target, as I said again, which was the first target being here, which I would peel some off at, which is 124.10. You can peel that off, and then the next level I would peel some off, and this would be my main target, would be a run of about 5 pips above those highs there at 124.50. So that's kind of what I'm looking at, a nice little 100 pip run or so to cap off Thursday, and then I'd be looking for price to rebalance from there lower and potentially find some support back down into some of these levels here. So probably a little bit of taking profit happening on Friday, I would imagine we'll start to see. But there's no reason why we can't get a few longs in before that happens. So, and we may not even see price trade down to here, which is the other issue. If we don't get a retracement back down to this level here and price starts to run, then, I mean, we're not talking too many pips here. But if it starts to go higher than these highs here, I'd be looking for an entry within about a 10 pip range of current location. You can even wait for confirmation. If price runs these highs here, trades back down to retest the tops of these highs here, and then runs higher, that's where you can get long as well. So basically anywhere within this price range right here just switch this up 1 second. Anywhere within that price range, you can pretty much get long. So that's what I'm talking about. Okay, Euro USD, done. Pound USD. Talk about this real quickly. I had a nice runner today as well. Nothing out of the ordinary. Just a regular 180 pip day. So not too bad of a range for the pound dollar. Some of this obviously happened into after the day end, so not quite that much of a range, but same type of story. I'd like to see price rebalance, maybe a little bit lower, come down into this range in here. Right, same type of idea as the Euro USD. Again, price was very, very efficient, trading out of this consolidation range, trading up, trading back down, offering both buy and sell side. Price, and it's since based a little bit here through the Asian session and expanded out, and now we're retesting these old highs in here. So I'd like to see price drop down just a little bit, but again, I'd like to get in a long position on the euro. Now it's sorry, I keep saying the euro, on the pound dollar. Didn't mean to do that. Sorry, guys. 1 second. What my thoughts here are, this has been a nice runner. So I think that they may have, between the Euro USD and the Pound USD, they're going to typically have to hold one of them back a little bit and let the other one run. So you see the Euro GBP pair here, this consolidation that it's trading in. I would expect a little bit of pullback on this if price doesn't want to start running for these lows here. I would expect a little bit of a pullback on this, and if that happens, then we could start to see the Euro USD get released out of this consolidation area that it's been in. See that it's been in a fairly tight consolidation range, and I would expect if we see a bit of a run higher on the Euro GBP, we could see this release, and again these numbers here taken out, which could mean that the pound dollar may consolidate a little bit going forward. It has been on a real nice run, as you can see. And I'll just put the day dividers on so you can get an idea. Thursday's trading, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. So it's seen a real big range since Monday, and I wouldn't be surprised if they let it relax a bit. It's seen 250 pips since Monday's trading, so been on a nice rip. Now, with that being said, I think these highs in here will eventually get targeted, but it might not see as big of a range, and I could be wrong. They could slam this thing straight up and take out these old highs up in here without any problem at all, and I could be totally wrong. But I'd like them to see them just sort of chop it a little bit, maybe not make as an aggressive high, you know, as they have been the past couple of days, and let the euro do a little bit of running. So we'll see how that one pans out, but same type of idea. I'm not expecting any lower prices in this, and so I would expect them to maybe trade down to this area down here, and then we could potentially see some longs ensue. 141.50. That's a nice level for price to react off of. And I've got no reason to believe that they are going to want to run this back down. Main reason being that they did that last week. Sorry, so this is get these day dividers on here again. Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday's trading. You can see Friday's trading down here. It came and it took all the stops of the week out for the most part, and it didn't really give any reason to indicate that it wanted to come back down any lower. Again, nice retracement down there. So if we take a fib and we just sort of look at that a little bit, price ran back down to the 72% retracement level, which is a nice optimal entry for a long, and then it did it again. Not quite as deep this time. I'll just take it off the bodies. And right down to the 50% level, almost to the pip. So you can see that, like, these ranges that they're putting in, these expansion and contraction range, expansion, retracement, expansion, And then this expansion here happened, again, 50% range. So price is very, very efficiently traded in these ranges. So there's really no reason for them to come back down unless they're going to drop the market, which could happen. I mean, they're not like they're going to run this thing higher forever. Obviously, they will have to come down eventually. But if we do see weakness in the dollar, it should gravitate to higher prices in the Euro USD and the Pound USD. On the weekly, again, I discussed this during the live session earlier today, but I'm looking for price to eventually get above these highs here, which this green box delineates, and then I would like to see price run these pre-Brexit highs up in here. That's a long ways away. I mean, that's 1,000+ pips, I believe. Little under 1,000 pips. So that's going to take a little while to come to fruition. Probably 3, 4, 5 weeks. Who knows? Maybe the end of April, it might be up there. If we see a lot of continuation to the upside. But it's not going to be a straight shot. It'll be choppy, and it'll be, you know, retracement. It'll be like this, basically. So that's what I'm looking at on the pound dollar. Just a slight retrace and then a continuation higher. Not really going to discuss any of these pairs. UJ was in, US dollar, US CAD, sorry, trying to say here, is finally starting to see a bit of a decline here. And I'm going to go out to the daily on it, and I'll zoom in just a little bit so you can see a bit better. We're now trading back into the mid-range of this consolidation, of this base price fractal right in here. So, and that's what this price right in here, this line right in here delineates is the 50% range of this move. So if we continue, and we should probably see this price pushed down through here, then we could see these lows getting violated and taken out. Now, here's the thing about US CAD is it hasn't been running in tandem with the US dollar, which is what it should have been doing. This is the US dollar here, and you can see this has been trading straight sideways and allowing the US CAD, which is showing some strength, to get manipulated and to, some weakness, I should say. If the US CAD is going up, it means the dollar is either stronger or the Canadian dollar is a lot weaker. So if this is running up, that's the cause, and now we're back sort of into this 50% range of this consolidation. So if we don't see any bounce, measurable bounce here, I would look for these lows to get violated, and then we could see lower prices in here. But we'll wait and see. Like I say, this has been, you know, a fairly strong market in here, and a fairly nice move to the upside. So if we do see continuation, they may want to just come down, take out some of the stops. For all you trendline traders, they've violated that trend line now. And it could be a retrade down. So we'll see what happens on here. It has basically almost closed in some of this price inefficiency that it had up in here, a few pips away on the daily chart, but for all intents and purposes, that's pretty much closed there now. So they may not have any reason to take it up any higher, but we're yeah, like it just created some new highs up there. Pretty strong price. So I wouldn't discount it yet, and I wouldn't say it's coming down under here yet. I want to see what it does right at this, basically right at this level here, and we're right back to the highs of this consolidation again. So they came up, wicked through, tested it, powered up through it once, came back down, retesting this level. So if this level shows some serious support, then we should either see a bounce or it's priced finally to give way. So we'll watch for that. The Aussie had some news a couple of hours ago that really didn't do a whole lot. Did it? This was all FOMC, and as I said, I was looking for a target to get short on this, only because it hit a significant level, and price pretty much hit that level there. I didn't take a trade or did anything because it was too close to FOMC. I don't like to trade that. You could have taken that, you know, at the end of the day, where this day divider comes in right here, and then gone short on it. But I don't like to trade that way. I like to make sure that FOMC is completely you know, out of the way and done, and it is now, obviously, which basically means the start of London Open the next day, which we're about 20 minutes into it now. So I like that it has wicked up, touched it, and failed, and essentially shown some level of resistance up here. I called the level at 77.88, and no, sorry, it was this level right here. Just get an exact price on these guys here for you. Yeah, about 77.60 75 is sort of where I wanted to see the line in the sand, and that was basically the highs of these candles bodies in here. So I would expect price for Aussie, at least anyway, to at least trade back down to here. If it doesn't have the willingness and weakness to get down to there, then this could have been the low. We could see price start to trade higher. Now, if price does break this here, then it will power up and it will go higher. Okay. Now, here's the thing with Aussie, right? Aussie is should be going up, okay, because the U.S. dollar is the last currency in this basket, and if the U.S. dollar is going down, it means that the opposing pairs will be doing the opposite. They will be going up. So if we see weakness in the dollar, it should equate to strength in the Aussie USD. Okay, so we technically should be seeing price running higher. Now, if you look, this is pretty weak. It's been very, very bearish. And price hit a significant level in here, very, very significant level. And so far, we've seen a nice reaction ensue. However, with that being said, there is some areas above here where price could want to trade. See what they did here? They traded up, they closed in all the inefficiencies up here, traded off. Traded back up, closed the inefficiencies in here, traded off. This was a nice retrace back in here, back up to previous levels, took out the old high in here, and then traded off. This would be, in my opinion, a fairly short retrace. You know, again, I think there are a couple of levels higher that they could want to gun price up to. Aussie's been pretty weak though, so that may be it, right? I mean, that could be the FOMC, and you know, then they drop it lower, and then there's several areas down here where I think price could be running to first. Obviously, the first one that comes in mind is this low right here, of course. But yeah, just watch for that. I would have liked to got a trade right here, and then I didn't. I wasn't in front of the charts though, unfortunately. Nice 40-50 pips on the day. I would have called it a day at that. I don't necessarily know that we're going to see much lower. If they do want to come lower, they may want to just clean this up right in here, just small little price inefficiency, and then run higher. But we'll see what happens. Because right now, like I say, a lot of these pairs are decoupled. A lot of these pairs, the Euro USD is running fairly similar in tandem. Pound dollar is completely decoupled from the US dollar. It finally got somewhat into sync today, obviously, as the US dollar was dropping. They were running this up, but the US dollar was basically in a straight consolidation. You can see the pound dollar has been running straight up. The US yen, same type of idea. The yen has been running straight down as the dollar index has been going sideways. So they're doing a lot of manipulation to these pairs as the US dollar is in consolidation. They're letting them, a couple of these pairs really run. US CAD is another example, and they're decoupling a little bit from the overall a general mirror of what they usually are. So, you know, price is a little out of whack right now. It's going to take a little while to balance it, but I think it will eventually get there. And the Aussie dollar being another one of those pairs. So if we do see this continuation of you know, these cross pairs not respecting what the dollar is doing, and if they do keep the US dollar in consolidation, which I think they're out of it now, we should start to see price. We should see price continue. But if it is finally out of this consolidation range and it is going to trend lower, then all of these pairs will start to snap back into alignment, and we'll get in sync with the overall higher trend. So that's Aussie. Bitcoin really doing not much. I put a level up in here a while ago, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, when price was down here. I said I don't want to see it break this level in here. It hasn't yet, but don't let that fool you, because they could just jam price up one more time. And there's a level right about up in here that would my eye goes to first. If they do want to come higher, if they want to get higher than up in here, they're going to rip through these highs up there, and so that comes in at 10,600. But this could be resistance. It could be, you know, tacking in here and tap, and then it finally will give it up and fall off the face of the earth here. and we're going to see lower prices. I do like lower, but keep in mind, you know, two things. One, it could be a failure swing. I'd like to see it go deeper if it is a failure swing, but this could be a failure swing off of this low here, and we could see higher prices in this 12,000 level finally taken out. Scenario one. Scenario two, we have a short run up here, you know, but price is fairly well balanced here. Again, little inefficiency up here, not too bad. They may want to gun for, if they go through that, then we're going to take out the highs here, but we could see price start to roll over either here or there. And then in which case, like I say, this low here is where I'd like to see, that's my first target. That's where I'd like to see price run to. I do think we're going to see lower prices on Bitcoin. I know that's not what a lot of people want to hear, but that's just my initial thoughts on it. 5,900, call it close enough, 5,900. That's sort of where my target would be. I should rephrase that. That's not sort of where my target would be. That is exactly where my target is. And then whether they want to continue it lower from there, or you know, double tap and create two equal lows or whatever, I don't know from there. I don't know what's going to happen. But here's where all the liquidity is right now. I can tell you this for a fact. All right there, and all right on this last run up higher, everybody was getting long, and where they putting their stops, they're putting them under here, they're putting them under here. They ran those stops out, so now the next ones are right here, which also comes in right here as well. There's stops under this low here. They haven't taken those lows for a very long time, since November 2017, so those would be suspect. And I'll just run this guy straight across so you can see what I'm talking about. This low right here, failed to get it there. Everyone was breathing a sigh of relief. Price started running up, so they're jamming their stop up under here, and I think that's where they're going to go. That's where the liquidity lies. So to be honest with you, I mean, you look at this move as well too. If I can get a fib, it also, that line that I mentioned in here also lines up with a 72% retracement level. But the 50 comes in at this level here, this down, or sorry, this one up candle right here where they ripped the price lower. Bit of a gap, this guy here. Price closed here, then they gapped it down, traded up higher, did the failure swing up here, traded lower. They could want to trade back up to the 60, 72, you know, even 79% retracement level in here, and then start to drop price lower. That would be kind of an optimal trade entry rate there as well. But we'll see what happens, because if you flip the script a little bit, this is what I was driving at. If you flip the script and do this, right, look what price just did. Just traded right back down to the 72% retracement level and bounced straight off of that, and is now trading higher. And we'll just maybe clean that up a little bit, right about there. See how it hit once, hit twice, and then reversed. So we could see higher prices, but it's just, price is just kind of trading right in a range right now. So here's your range. Trading in consolidations. Here's your range. Highs, I'll take the body lows here, right? There's your resistance, there's your support, and we're trading right in the middle of this $5,000, $4,000, $4,500 range right there. So it is what it is. So I would look for either one of two things happen: this line holding and price to fall short from there, or price to trade up to this line here and then to drop off. That's my thoughts. If it gets through this guy here, it's going to take the highs. So that's Bitcoin. Ethereum, I'm not going to talk about this one. I don't really see anything that really struck my attention. Price is just sort of lethargically falling off. Took the old low over here. Hasn't taken these lows yet, but that's the next stop on this pair here, or in this cryptocurrency here. That's I think where they're going to tag next, and then there's two equal lows under here that kind of capture my attention. And so if we do see a big run down on Bitcoin, if we see this big run down here, I think that they would be able to come down and sweep these lows very easily. Relatively equal lows right there. Be able to come down and sweep those without a problem, and then come back down into here. So we'll see how that pans out. But I'm not going to put anything out on this one because it's really been sitting in a consolidation. It hasn't been doing anything. It's just been chopping straight sideways. Still hasn't filled this gap in. So I'm not, nothing there that really excites me, other than maybe this. If price trades up runs through this, wicks, tags into here, and then drops, then I'd be looking for a short. But I'd have to be watching the charts as it happens, and chances of that are pretty slim. So we've got my other analyst, Dave. He's going to be jumping on tomorrow to discuss the S&P 500. So tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. New York time, you can expect that. He'll put out the links, so you can all jump in on that one. He'll talk about the S&P, which isn't really doing a whole lot, just kind of sitting in the middle right now, but we'll discuss that tomorrow. Crude oil hit some significant highs. I don't know if there's any crude oil traders out there, but it really caught me by surprise on this move. I managed to get into a nice little move on Tuesday for about 130 or 104 or whatever this move here was here. I got in down here, and I got it out there, and I took the little byline off of there, but you can still see the tick marks here. So yeah, like I say, that was a nice 130 pip move to the upside. Wish I would have held it. I got out as price hit a significant high back in here. That was my target. I got in on this retracement down here. It actually pissed me off because I actually I can talk about this a little bit here. So you can see price reacting. Where is it? So you can see price reacting right in here, how it slammed back down, came back to this consolidation range, and ran higher. I was actually looking at price. This is right, see that blue dot? That's right where I got in on my initial entry. I was looking for price to actually get me in here. I used this candle as confirmation. This candle didn't do anything, so I was a little hesitant once this candle put in, and it came back and gave me a doji. It ran up, came back down, and just sat there. And then this was the candle that that gave it to me. It punched down, rejected, and then that's where I wanted to get long. Unfortunately, I I literally walked away from the chart for 30 seconds and came back, and the price was already trading up here. So then I waited for the next candle, which was this guy here. Got in as it was driving down here. I got in almost on the low of it. Basically rated this candle high. That's where the spread put me in up here, and then the rest is ensued from there. But like I say, I wish I would have held on to it, because I would have had another. That's where I got out. I would have been able to capture another 200 to 230 pips on that move. But hey, it is what it is. Take the profit right to the bank. They can't take that away from me. I've got it, and I'm going to hang on to it. So. Going forward, I don't want to buy it up here. I think price is overstretched and overreached, and I want to see them take these highs out. But as you can see here, price hit this very significant level back in over here, and it started to retrace. So I wouldn't mind seeing price come back down just a little bit on this, and I would suggest we may not even get down to here, but I would love it if they came back just a little bit on here, about 50 pips or so, 70 pips, 80 pips. Call it 70 pips, run back down, and potentially get a long in somewhere around here. I'm never that lucky, though, for them to do exactly what I say they're going to do. I get it right a lot of times, but something like this, you know, I'd love it if they came down here so I could get a long off and run higher there, but yeah, we'll see. But I am targeting these highs up here. Now, keep in mind, could be a failure swing, right? We've had one, 1 second, get these days. So we've had price make a high, and then we had one failure swing, two failure swings, price ran all the way back down, three failure swings, ran all the way back down, and then now we're finally starting to run higher. Keep in mind, there are a couple of areas in this price that I believe they could tag. See these lows right under here to this high in there? That's where a ton of stops are sitting right now. So especially with crude oil, don't be surprised if they run price all the way up here, just smash it all the way back down here, grab the stops, and then continue to run higher. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I hope that doesn't. But keep in mind, there is a lot of liquidity under the market right here, especially after this move. So just for the record, I figure it's probably a good idea to, you know, maybe let you know that. So, okay. Hopefully you guys can all see that okay on Insta Live. Okay. And that's about it. I just wanted to talk, none of these commodities in here are really all that exciting me. Orange juice, I was looking for a trade. Nothing's really happening here. Price is just continually leaking lower. This is my line in the sand, 136, 1,360. If price breaks this low here, then all bets are off. I was expecting to move higher. I was kind of hoping it would have happened by now. You can see prices really wicking up in here, and they starting to slam it lower. This is going to be the line in the sand. If price breaks here, closes lower, then I'm not going to worry about this commodity anymore. Sugar, nothing on this one here. Price just keeps running lower on there. Cotton, this was the trade I was looking at. Look at this. I called the long. Sorry, I called the short back down in here. Where are we? Price was slamming right down into here, and then I put out a signal 2 days ago, and I said I'd like to see price trade up to this, the low of this candle, and I put a stop just above here at 120.80. It literally took my stop by 3 lousy pips, and then it traded off. And then, well, the next day it punched up here. This was yesterday's trading. It punched up and rejected, and so I'm looking for lower prices on this. And you can see what price did here. This is what I was talking about today during the live FOMC. Price came in. I was looking for it to just bounce, wick through these highs. Just take the stops once, twice. It did that right here and then trade off. And I'm looking for lower prices to ensue. But I want to see price trade up just a little bit higher than current levels on this, just to be safe. I would say no more than this. If price goes higher than that, I'm not interested in the trade at all. Because I think and what I'm saying is price can wick, obviously wicks up, but if I get a closure above this candle here, forget it. I'm not interested because they're going to take price higher. But I think by them basically running these two highs right here once, twice, and then sinking it, I think we're going to see lower prices again. And so I'm going to just come over to here quick and show you that this area right down here is going to be my target. Basically from these old highs down in here up to really this low, this swing low right here. That would be my target long term, and that could probably take, you know, a week or two to get down there. So it's a bit of a swing trade, short-term swing trade. So that's what I'm looking for. But bear in mind they could, you know, and that's why I want to wait. I want to watch price. I want to watch price in here so that they don't, because they could wick it. So I don't want to just get long right here because I'd have to have way too big of a stop that I'm comfortable with. Because you see these two equal highs up here? Equal highs are always suspect. If you ever see equal highs, like I'm talking equal highs, you know, equal highs here, suspect those that they are not resistance. Those are areas where people think that price is never going to go back up to because that is resistance. And then what do? They come up like over here. Everyone's thinking, let's get short on this thing, so they put their stops right here. What do? They run price down, smash it back up, 1, 2, double tap, and then they're going to start to trade off. They're taking stops right there. That's all they're doing. So expect that, anticipate that. If you see equal highs here, always anticipate them to run those out. It may not happen the next day. Just in this case here, it did happen 1, 2, 3, 4 days later. And then now I think we're going to see lower prices on this here. So that's what I'm looking for. If you are part of my membership group, you will see some signals for that coming out very shortly. I'm just going to watch price on there going forward, and I'll let you guys know. So that's it. That's all. That's everything, guys. Wanted to keep the session fairly short, about 42 minutes now we're going. I'm not going to go any longer than that. I gave you the levels that you can look for, so hopefully you guys can get some value out of that. If you haven't already, here's my shameless little bit of marketing. Please go to our website at f45trading.com. Sign up. It's free for 14 days. You can check us out, see what we're all about, see our trade signals. We have another chat group as well too that you can join, and there's some ton of value in there for you guys. We talk about trading all day long. If you are a Forex trader, if you're a commodity trader, if you're a Bitcoin trader, or any cryptocurrency trader, jump in. We offer a ton of great information, a lot of help, a lot of support, because we do have a big chat room with lots of members who all they do is sit in front of the charts all day long and trade. So check us out, f45trading.com, and that's all via Telegram as well too, so you can get direct instant messages right to your phone, instant signals right to your phone, so you never miss a trade. And if you're not already, jump on Twitter, follow us on F45 Trading on Twitter, and obviously IG at Future 45 Trade Signals. And if you haven't done so already and you're watching this on YouTube, please, guys, click right down here. See this little button right here? Click down here and subscribe to my YouTube channel, please. Support me and do that. I would really appreciate that. That's it. That's all. Hope you guys have a great trading day on Tuesday. Don't forget, we have a live session starting at 9 a.m. New York time tomorrow morning to trade the New York session. We're looking at S&P, gold, and the United States dollar versus the Japanese yen. So thanks, guys. Have a great day. We will talk to you later.